Welcome to Learn English by Reading. Today we bring you the inspiring story of Malala Yousafzai, a girl from a small valley in Pakistan whose courage and love for learning changed the world. This story is not only about her life, it is about hope, determination, and the power of one voice. As you read, you will follow Malala from her ordinary childhood to becoming a global symbol of courage. You will see how she loved books, asked questions, and dreamed of a future where every girl could go to school. You will feel the fear she faced when extremists tried to stop her, and the bravery she showed by speaking out. You will also see how she recovered from a terrible attack and turned her voice into a global movement for education. This story is written in simple English to help you improve your reading, listening, and understanding skills. You will learn new words, practice sentences, and discover inspiring lessons that you can use in your own life. So, stay with us until the end. Let Malala's journey teach you about courage, resilience, and the power of education. Open your heart to her story and let it inspire you to read more, speak more, and believe that your voice matters too. Get ready to begin this amazing journey and see how one girl changed the world. Chapter 1. Welcome to Malala's world. In the heart of northern Pakistan lies the Swat Valley, a place of breathtaking beauty. Mountains rise like silent guardians, their snow-capped peaks glowing softly in the morning sun. Rivers wind through green fields, sparkling like ribbons of silver. Birds fill the air with their songs, and children run along narrow paths, their laughter echoing across the hills. This is the world where Malala Yousafzai was born, a world that seems almost untouched by time, full of calm and simple joy. From a very young age, Malala was curious about everything. She asked endless questions, always eager to learn something new. She loved school, where she could open books and explore stories about faraway lands, brave heroes, and great ideas. At home, her father encouraged her every step of the way. He was a teacher and a school owner, and he believed that knowledge could change a life. Malala listened carefully to his words, feeling a spark of hope and ambition grow inside her. Even as a little girl, she dreamed of a future filled with learning, courage, and possibility. Malala's days were full of simple pleasures. She played with her friends in the fields, ran barefoot through the grass, and listened to her mother's gentle stories in the evenings. Family meals were lively, with laughter and warmth around the table. Life seemed safe, familiar, and filled with endless potential. She was a girl with big dreams in a small, beautiful valley, and every day felt like an opportunity to discover something new. Yet, even in this peaceful world, shadows were beginning to form. Whispers of danger floated through the valley. Extremist groups were slowly gaining control, spreading fear and closing schools. At first, it seemed distant, almost unreal, something that could not touch the laughter of children or the quiet rhythm of family life. But slowly, signs began to appear. A school closed here, a teacher warned there, and parents growing fearful about sending their daughters to learn. For Malala, this was the first time she sensed that the world she loved might not always be safe. The mountains remained tall, the rivers continued to flow, but an invisible threat was growing in the corners of her life. Even in moments of joy, a small shadow of worry began to creep in, reminding her that innocence and freedom could be fragile. And so, Malala's ordinary childhood, full of laughter, learning, and dreams, stood on the edge of change. The valley was still beautiful, still full of life, but the world outside her doors was shifting. Forces that would challenge her courage, test her dreams, and shape the person she was becoming were slowly moving closer. Her story, it seemed, was about to become far more than a story of a little girl with a love for learning. It was about courage, hope, and the fight for what is right. Chapter 2. The Power of Education. Malala loved school. Every morning she woke up with excitement. She wanted to learn new things, to read stories, and to ask questions. Her small room was filled with books. She read about faraway places, famous people, and amazing ideas. For Malala, every book was a new adventure. Her father, Ziauddin, understood this love for learning. He was not only her father, but also her teacher and her biggest supporter. He ran a small school in their town in the Swat Valley. He believed that education could change lives. He often said to Malala, "Books are our most powerful weapons. Knowledge is light in the dark." Malala listened carefully. She dreamed of a world where girls, like her, could go to school every day. At school, Malala was full of questions. She asked about science, history, and even stories from the Quran. She wanted to know why things were the way they were. Sometimes her friends laughed because she asked so many questions, but her father always encouraged her. He reminded her that asking questions was the first step to understanding the world. Malala noticed that not all girls in her community had the same chance. Some girls stayed at home and helped their families. Some were told that school was only for boys. This made Malala sad. She loved her friends, and she wanted every girl to enjoy the same freedom she had. She began to understand that education was not only a gift, it was also a challenge in her town. Even though there were obstacles, Malala never lost hope. She continued to read every day. She imagined a future where girls could learn without fear. She wrote in her notebook about her dreams. Sometimes she thought about the mountains and rivers of Swat Valley, and she believed that her dreams could grow as high as the mountains. Malala's enthusiasm for learning created a sharp contrast with the rules and traditions around her. While she saw school as a place of joy and discovery, some adults saw girls' education as unnecessary. This contrast made her think deeply. She realized that knowledge was not just for herself. It could help change her community, her country, and maybe even the world. By asking questions and sharing her ideas, Malala began to take small steps toward speaking up. She wanted to inspire other girls. She wanted to show them that they had the right to learn. Education gave her hope, courage, and a sense of purpose. And as she learned more, Malala understood that her love for school was the beginning of something bigger, her journey to fight for the rights of girls everywhere. Life in the Swat Valley began to change. Strange news came every day. Extremist groups were gaining power. They said girls should not go to school. They closed schools, and many families became afraid. Malala noticed the fear in the eyes of her friends and neighbors. Her safe, happy world was shrinking. Chapter 3. Shadows of Fear. Life in the Swat Valley was changing. Strange news came every day. Extremist groups were gaining power. They said girls should not go to school. Many schools closed and families became afraid. Malala noticed the fear in the faces of her friends and neighbors. Her safe, happy world seemed smaller each day. One morning, Malala walked to school and saw empty streets. Her friends were not coming. Some parents told their daughters to stay home. Malala felt a tight feeling in her chest. She had never felt fear like this before. The laughter of children, the songs, and the joyful schoolyard seemed far away. Now there was only silence and whispers. Women in the town began hiding. They stayed inside their homes and wore veils even when they went outside. Shops closed early, and the streets were quiet. Men with strict faces gave orders. The world felt heavy and dark. Malala wanted to run away, but she also wanted to stay and learn. Her heart told her that education was more important than fear. Every day, Malala faced a choice. Should she stay home like other girls, safe but sad? Or should she go to school, risking danger but keeping her dreams alive? Slowly, a small flame of courage grew inside her. She remembered her father's words. Books are our most powerful weapons. Knowledge is light in the dark. Those words felt true now more than ever. Malala also saw the effects of fear on her friends. Some girls stopped reading books. Some whispered about their dreams, but kept them hidden. Some wanted to go outside but were too afraid. Malala wanted to help them. She wanted to show that hope could exist even in difficult times. Even though fear was all around, Malala began to take small steps of bravery. She continued to ask questions. She continued to read at home. Sometimes she wrote stories about girls who could go to school freely. These quiet acts of courage gave her strength. She knew that learning and speaking were small weapons against the darkness. The contrast between fear and determination shaped Malala's days. She was afraid, yet she refused to give up. She saw the danger, but she also saw the power of her own voice. Every step she took toward school, every book she read became a symbol of hope, not just for herself, but for all the girls in her valley. In the shadows of fear, Malala learned something important. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the choice to act despite it. She realized that her journey to protect education and speak for girls had begun. The dark days made her heart stronger and her dreams brighter. Slowly, Malala decided that she would not let fear stop her from learning, and one day, she would tell the world why education mattered. Chapter 4. Finding Her Voice. The world around Malala was still full of fear. Schools were closed, streets were quiet, and people whispered in worry. But Malala refused to let fear stop her. She wanted her voice to be heard, even if it was small. She wanted the world to know that girls had the right to learn. One day, Malala began writing a diary for the BBC. She used a fake name so no one would know it was her. In her diary, she wrote about life under Taliban rule. She described how girls could not go to school, how families were afraid, and how education was disappearing from her valley. Writing made her feel brave. She could tell the truth, even when speaking out loud was dangerous. Every time Malala wrote a new entry, her thoughts became clearer. She wrote about her dreams, a world where girls could study, play, and follow their passions. She described the sadness of empty schools and quiet streets. But she also wrote about hope. She wrote that even in dark times, courage could grow like a small light in the night. Malala's diary was her secret rebellion. Her words were quiet, but they were strong. She explained how important books and teachers were. She shared her thoughts on why every girl should go to school. Writing made her feel powerful. Even though the Taliban were loud and dangerous, her small voice could still reach the world. Every day, Malala faced risks. If anyone discovered that she was writing for the BBC, her life could be in danger. Sometimes she felt afraid, but her determination was stronger than her fear. She remembered her father's lessons and the power of knowledge. She believed that speaking the truth was more important than staying silent. Through her diary, Malala's intelligence and maturity grew. She thought deeply about fairness, courage, and the future. She began to see that her voice could inspire others. Even far away, people could hear her story. Her small words were becoming a signal, a light showing the world that girls in Swat Valley wanted to learn. The contrast between Malala's quiet, hidden words and the loud threats of the extremists made her story powerful. Readers admired her bravery. They felt the tension of danger, yet also the hope she carried. Every diary entry was a small victory against fear, a step toward change. Malala's secret writing soon gave her courage to speak publicly. Her voice, once hidden in a diary, started reaching more people. She became a symbol of hope for girls in her valley and beyond. But the louder her voice grew, the more she became a target. The risks increased, but so did her determination. Malala was ready to fight for education, no matter the danger. In finding her voice, Malala learned an important lesson. Courage is not only in big actions, but also in small, brave words. Every sentence she wrote, every story she told, was a step toward a future where girls could go to school freely. And this was only the beginning of her journey. Chapter 5: The Attack That Shook the World. It was a normal morning in the Swat Valley. Malala woke up, ate breakfast, and prepared for school. She laughed with her friends and chatted about lessons. The sun shone over the mountains, and the valley seemed peaceful. But this morning would change everything. Malala and her classmates boarded the school bus. They sat together, talking and joking. Suddenly, the bus stopped. Men wearing masks appeared. Malala felt fear immediately. One of the men shouted, and without warning, a gunshot rang out. Pain exploded in her head. Malala fell to the floor. Blood covered her face. The bus was full of screams and chaos. Her friends cried. Some tried to help her, but they were terrified. The attackers ran away quickly, leaving the children in shock. Malala could hear the fear in every voice around her. Her body felt weak, and her mind was full of confusion. She did not understand why someone would hurt her for wanting to learn. Her father and family rushed to her side. They were scared and heartbroken. Malala was taken to a local hospital immediately. Doctors worked quickly, but her injuries were very serious. She could barely speak, and every movement caused pain. Her family held her hand and prayed for her safety. The world outside Swat Valley began to hear the news. People everywhere were shocked and worried. Malala's condition was critical. She needed urgent treatment that the local hospital could not provide. After hours of emergency care, she was moved to a larger hospital in Peshawar. Doctors fought to save her life. Every second mattered. Her family stayed close, never leaving her side. Friends, teachers, and neighbors waited anxiously, hoping for good news. The attack shocked the entire world. Messages of support arrived from faraway countries. Leaders, students, and ordinary people sent prayers and letters. The world knew Malala was a symbol of courage. They shared hope that she would survive. This support gave strength to her family and doctors, who never gave up. Slowly, Malala began to respond. She opened her eyes, whispered a few words, and showed signs of life. The journey ahead was difficult. She needed surgeries and long treatment. Her body was weak, but her spirit was strong. Every small movement and every smile became a victory. The people who loved her saw that her courage had not left her, even after such violence. The contrast between the terror of that day and the hope of recovery was enormous. Fear, pain, and uncertainty filled every moment, yet resilience, love, and global support shone brightly. Malala realized that her fight for education had touched millions. Even as she healed, she knew that silence was not an option. Her voice had become stronger, louder, and more important than ever. This attack, terrible as it was, marked the beginning of a new chapter in Malala's life. She survived, and through her recovery, she became a symbol of hope for the world. The pain she endured became a reminder of the power of courage and the importance of education. Malala's journey had transformed her from a brave girl in the Swat Valley into a global advocate for learning, equality, and peace. Even in the darkest moments, Malala's spirit could not be broken. Her story was just beginning, and the world was ready to listen. Chapter 6. From Patient to Fighter. After the attack, Malala's injuries were serious. Doctors said she needed treatment that her local hospital could not provide. With her family by her side, she was flown to the United Kingdom. The journey was long and tiring, but it was the first step toward healing. In the hospital, Malala faced many challenges. She could not move easily, and speaking was difficult. Simple tasks like eating or sitting up felt impossible at first. Every day was hard, and sometimes she felt frustrated and tired, but she refused to give up. Her family encouraged her, holding her hand and celebrating every small victory. Slowly, Malala learned to move again. She practiced speaking, reading, and walking with the help of doctors and therapists. Each day she grew stronger. Every word she spoke, every step she took became a sign of her courage. Even in pain, she smiled at her family, showing that she would not let fear or injury stop her dreams. News of the attack spread around the world. People sent letters, flowers, and messages of support. Journalists told her story to millions. Children, teachers, and leaders everywhere were inspired by Malala's bravery. This global support gave her hope and strength. She felt that her recovery was not only for herself, but for all the girls who could not go to school. Her recovery was not only physical. Malala's mind and heart grew stronger every day. She thought deeply about her future. She realized that her story could help girls who were denied education. Surviving the attack was not the end, it was a beginning, a chance to make a bigger difference. Despite her vulnerability, Malala's courage shone brightly. She had faced terrible danger and survived. Now, she was determined to turn her pain into action. Every lesson learned, every move regained, and every word spoken was a step toward a bigger mission: to speak for girls who could not speak for themselves. The contrast between her early struggles and the hope emerging from global support made her journey powerful. She felt weak and injured, but her spirit was strong. She understood that courage is not the absence of fear or pain, but the choice to keep going despite them. By the time Malala left the hospital, she was ready for a new challenge. She wanted to continue learning, but also to speak publicly about the importance of education. Her recovery had taught her resilience, and now she was ready to become a fighter for girls everywhere. The world had seen her strength, and her voice was about to reach even further. Malala's journey from patient to fighter showed that courage can grow from hardship. Her story inspired millions, and her mission to defend education had just begun. The little girl from the Swat Valley was now ready to speak to the world. Chapter 7. A Voice for Millions. After her recovery, Malala did not stop dreaming. She wanted all girls to go to school. Slowly, her small, quiet voice became strong and powerful, reaching millions around the world. One of her first big moments was speaking at the United Nations. She wore a simple outfit and stood before hundreds of people. World leaders, journalists, and students listened carefully. Her hands trembled slightly, but her words were clear. She spoke about the importance of education and why every girl should have the right to learn. She told the world that even one child, one voice, could make a difference. The audience clapped and cheered, inspired by her courage. Malala met presidents, prime ministers, and famous leaders. She told them about schools, teachers, and girls' dreams. Sometimes she felt nervous. Sometimes she felt small among all the important people. But she remembered her father's advice. Do not wait for someone else to speak. Use your voice, even if it is small. And she did. She gave interviews on television, radio, and online. She explained simply why education was important. She spoke about girls who could not go to school, empty classrooms, and the dreams waiting to grow. Her words were brave, clear, and full of hope. Children and adults everywhere listened. Many people started helping, donating to schools and programs for girls. Malala received many awards for her courage and dedication. She was proud, but she never forgot the girls who still could not go to school. Every medal and certificate reminded her of her mission. She wanted to show the world that education could change lives, families, and countries. The contrast between Malala, the schoolgirl in the Swat Valley, and Malala, the global advocate, was remarkable. From a small girl who loved to read, she became a symbol of courage and hope. People everywhere admired her determination and strength. They felt inspired to help girls in their own communities. Even with fame and recognition, Malala knew her journey was not over. She still studied hard, traveled to meet children and teachers, and spoke publicly. She faced challenges, but her spirit remained strong. She understood that speaking for millions of girls was a responsibility, not only an honor. Malala's story showed that one voice, even if small at first, could change the world. Her courage, persistence, and love for learning inspired millions. From a quiet girl in the Swat Valley to a respected global advocate, Malala proved that hope and determination could overcome fear and obstacles. Her journey was continuing, and the world was listening. Chapter 8. Facing Critics and Challenges. Even after speaking at the United Nations and meeting world leaders, Malala's journey was not easy. While millions admired her courage, some people criticized her. They did not agree with her message about girls' education. Some wrote harsh words in newspapers or online. Some leaders did not want her to speak publicly. Malala felt the weight of these challenges, but she refused to stay silent. Sometimes Malala felt afraid. Threats still existed. Some extremists were angry because she spoke for girls. Malala knew danger could return, but she remembered the lessons her father taught her. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is speaking and acting even when you are afraid. These words gave her strength to continue. Malala faced political obstacles as well. She wanted governments to help girls go to school, but some politicians were slow to act. Some programs were delayed or canceled. She had to be patient, persistent, and persuasive. She wrote letters, gave speeches, and met leaders to explain why education was so important. Every meeting was a challenge, but Malala stayed focused on her mission. Despite criticism and danger, Malala never stopped learning. She continued her own studies, reading books and working on school assignments. She understood that knowledge was her most powerful tool. Every new idea and every lesson helped her speak more confidently and make stronger arguments. Her persistence showed that education could fight ignorance, fear, and doubt. The contrast between public admiration and private fear made her journey more real. On television and at public events, people cheered for Malala. They saw her bravery and hope. But in private, she sometimes worried for her safety and for the girls in her valley. This tension showed that even heroes face challenges, and courage is needed every day. Malala also faced emotional challenges. Seeing children around the world who could not go to school made her sad. She knew that her voice had grown, but the work was far from finished. She had to keep fighting for every girl denied the right to learn. Each step forward was hard, but every small success gave her hope and motivation. Through these trials, Malala's moral strength grew. She learned patience, resilience, and the importance of speaking truth even when others disagreed. She inspired millions not only with her speeches, but also with her actions. People around the world saw that courage was not about fame or awards. It was about standing for what is right, even in the face of fear and criticism. Malala's journey through critics, threats, and obstacles proved that success does not remove struggle. Courage and determination must continue every day. These challenges strengthened her mission and made her story even more powerful. Malala understood that true change requires persistence, and she was ready to keep fighting for education for girls everywhere. Chapter 9. Achievements and Global Impact. Malala's courage and persistence brought her worldwide recognition. She achieved something that very few people can. She won the Nobel Peace Prize. At a young age, she stood among world leaders and spoke about education for all children. The award honored her bravery and her work to make schools safe for girls. Winning the Nobel Peace Prize was exciting, but Malala remained humble. She did not see it as the end of her mission. Instead, it became a reason to do even more. She wanted every child, no matter where they lived, to have the chance to learn. She knew that education could change lives, families, and even countries. Malala started the Malala Fund, an organization that helps children go to school. Through the fund, she supported schools in dangerous areas and encouraged governments to create programs for girls' education. She gave money to books, teachers, and classrooms. She also spoke at meetings and conferences around the world, explaining why education was a right, not a privilege. Her story inspired millions of children. Girls who had stopped going to school saw that hope was possible. They learned that one person could speak up and make a difference. Children wrote letters to Malala, saying that her words gave them courage. Teachers and parents were encouraged to support girls in their studies. Communities began to believe that education could bring better lives. Malala's influence reached governments and leaders. Some countries built more schools and offered scholarships for girls. Some leaders changed laws to make sure girls could study safely. Her voice helped create real, practical change. Even though Malala had faced fear and danger, she was now helping children feel safe and hopeful. The contrast between her early struggles and her global achievements was remarkable. From a small girl in the Swat Valley who loved to read, Malala became a symbol of courage and hope. People everywhere admired her determination. They were inspired to act, to speak, and to make a difference in their own communities. Despite her fame and recognition, Malala stayed focused on her mission. She continued studying, writing, and speaking about education. She reminded the world that awards and honors were not the goal. Helping children learn was the goal. Her actions showed that true courage is not only surviving danger, but also using your voice to change the world. Malala's story proved that one person can make a huge impact. She turned fear into action and hope into reality. Her courage, determination, and love for learning touched millions of lives. From the mountains of Swat Valley to the global stage, Malala's journey showed that education is a powerful tool for change. Her achievements were not only awards or speeches, they were the schools built, the laws changed, and the children inspired. Malala had become a light in the world, and her mission continued. Chapter 10. Lessons from Malala. Malala's journey began like the story of many children. She loved reading, playing, and learning in her small home in the Swat Valley. She did not know that her life would change the world. Yet her courage and determination showed that even ordinary beginnings can lead to extraordinary impact. From a young girl asking questions in her classroom, Malala grew into a voice that inspired millions. She faced fear, threats, and danger. Schools were closed. Extremists tried to silence her, and she was even attacked for speaking out. But Malala never gave up. She believed in the power of education and the importance of using her voice for good. Her story teaches that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act despite it. Malala's love for learning was the heart of her courage. Books, teachers, and knowledge gave her strength. Even when danger surrounded her, she remembered why learning mattered. She wanted every girl to have the same chance to go to school, read books, and follow her dreams. Her story shows that education is more than lessons. It is freedom, hope, and the key to a better future. The contrast between fear and hope, ordinary life and global impact, makes Malala's journey powerful. She began as one small girl in a quiet valley. Today, she is recognized worldwide, meeting leaders, giving speeches, and helping millions of children go to school. Her courage shows that one person can change the world. Malala also teaches us that challenges do not end with success. Even as a global icon, she faces criticism, obstacles, and difficult choices. Yet she continues to speak, learn, and act. Her example encourages everyone to remain persistent, to face difficulties bravely, and to keep working toward what is right. We can all learn from Malala. She reminds us to value education, to use our voice, and to act with kindness and courage. Every small step toward learning or helping others is important. Every act of bravery, even if quiet, makes a difference. Malala's story is a call to believe in ourselves and to keep moving forward even when the path is hard. As viewers and readers, we can take lessons from her life. We can study with passion, speak for what is right, and help others when they face obstacles. We can turn fear into courage, obstacles into opportunities, and dreams into reality. Malala's journey shows that hope, determination, and love for learning can overcome the greatest challenges. Malala's story ends not with silence, but with inspiration. Her life is a reminder that each of us has the power to make a difference. Even small voices, when guided by courage and knowledge, can reach the world. Like Malala, we can use learning and bravery to change lives, create opportunities, and light the path for others. The lessons from Malala are clear. Never stop learning, never be afraid to speak, and never give up on hope. Thank you for reading today with Learn English by Reading. We hope Malala's story inspired you as much as it inspires people all over the world. Her courage, love for learning, and determination to help others show us that one person's voice can truly make a difference. Remember, learning English is like Malala's journey. It takes patience, courage, and practice. Each day you read, listen, and speak, you grow stronger and smarter. Just like Malala never gave up on her dream of education, you can never give up on your goal to improve your English. Malala's story also teaches us about kindness, hope, and helping others. You can take small steps every day, read a new word, practice a sentence, or tell someone something you learned. These small steps will grow into big changes, just like her small voice grew into a worldwide movement. If you enjoyed today's story, remember to practice the words and sentences you learned. Think about the lessons of courage and hope that Malala shared. And don't forget, we upload videos every day to help you read, learn, and grow in English. So, keep reading, keep learning, and keep believing in yourself. Your voice matters. Your actions matter. And like Malala, you can make a difference in your life and in the world. See you tomorrow for another inspiring story on Reading English Daily.